Is passive income actually a myth? In this video, we're going to break down what passive income actually is and how you can actually make it. The problem that most of you find when you're trying to make more money, and the problem why you probably don't make as much money as you want, is that we've been programmed to make money one way, and that way is exchanging our time for money. The major disadvantage of this way of thinking is that by trading your time off for money, you're actually losing out on the most valuable of the two, which most rich people understand, and that is that time has more value than money. The problem with this way of thinking is it leaves you burnt out and really stressed, and sometimes you don't even get a worthwhile reward for your actual efforts. Plus, by all the time that you're trading off, you're actually losing out on a chance to enjoy your life while you're young. The only way to fix this problem is to learn how to make money without exchanging your time. And there's two ways you can do this. You can either do this by leveraging money or do this by leveraging other people's time. Now, this is where the idea of passive income comes into play. This is when you make money without actually having to do active work to generate it. But it's not as easy as all these gurus and mentors try to make out. There is no output without input, and you must remember this because this is the same for anything you do in life. And in this video, this is what we're going to look at. And hey, if you can take anything of value away from this video, it goes a long way for you to give me a like and then subscribe to the channel. I get so many ads on my YouTube and my Instagram For You page, on my TikTok, of all these gurus and these mentors popping up talking about passive income in 3 months, make passive income in 4 weeks with no effort. In my opinion, it's complete bull. There are so many misconceptions surrounding passive income, and I think the most important and main one is that you can make passive income with a low amount of effort. Now, don't get me wrong, passive income is real, and eventually you can create streams of income that work themselves and become passive. But in my opinion, to create these passive streams of income, you actually have to do more work at the beginning than somebody who's working consistently through making active income. The key is input. You have to be able to do the work beforehand and wait to get the results. It's called delayed gratification. No matter what industry you're in, or forget finance, no matter what part of life you're in or what you're trying to achieve, you must understand this core principle that you will get nothing of value if you don't put the time and effort and consistency in the beginning. I want you to think of it like this. The greater the time and effort you put in beforehand, the greater the results you're going to get at the end. This is why it takes years, sometimes even decades, for these entrepreneurs and businesses that you see to reach the levels, them high levels where you see them at. And the problem I think that most people have is that they see the results, but they don't see the work rate that went in to get them. And then you get sold the dream that it's easy and you can get those results with no work if you just go and buy a course. Like I said, it's complete bull. So the first thing I want you to understand about passive income is the complex systems that sit in the background of these income streams. So the majority of entrepreneurs and businesses will have started out like you and me. One person, a small group of people, grinding out results, grinding out effort, grinding out time. And what happens is that after a certain amount of time, they gain enough money or enough manpower to start putting in place more complex systems that helps them take a backseat to their chosen entrepreneurship or business. Now, there's two different ways that these people, entrepreneurs, businessmen, do this. They can either do this at the back end or they can do it at the front end. Now, the back end is all the things that you don't see. Stuff like email automation chains, sales teams doing cold calls and cold DMs, all those kind of aspects. Now, the front end is the stuff that you see. It's the stuff that you interact with. This could be things like content creation or marketing ads and similar types of propaganda and funnels and stuff to get people's eyes on the prize. Now, I know all this seems like a lot, and it is. This is my point. Even me myself spent countless months, coming up to years, trying to learn how to build these complex systems, building my back end, building my front end, learning how to try and take a step back so I wasn't too involved in what I was doing. And this is really why I'm emphasizing the ludicrousy that passive income is easy to obtain. And I know the first thing people will be saying is, oh, what about crypto nodes and stocks and all these kind of things? I am invested in those too. But the catch is that you have to find a way to generate the money to then invest into those assets. And this is my point. People are always trying to get past and avoid the hard work, but everybody wants the results. And then another thing that people forget is once those assets are up and running, they can't just be left. I had a conversation with one of my friends the other day, and he owns a large amount of properties, and he said the same thing. Yes, he gains passive income from his real estate investments, but then he has to worry about the upkeep and the management and all those types of things. And this is what I mean about more complex systems, as that's what he's had to put into his business. He has had to get other people to manage his properties. He's had to get people that will go around and fix the houses, those kind of things. That's what it's all about. It's about creating those systems to help your income become truly passive. And that's why I'm asking this question. Is there truly such thing as passive income? So following on from the question, whether there is or whether there isn't a truly way to make passive income, I have 3 ways in which you can change your current streams of income and create a more passively generating cash flow. And I'm going to give them to you at the end of the video. So make sure you keep watching. So next, I want to talk to you about passive generating income assets. And I want to get into a few different types of assets, and I want to look at how are they passive, what are the systems behind them, and I want to give you a good idea about how these systems work. So we're going to look at 3 different types of passive income generating assets. The first one is going to be real estate. Then we're going to have a look at online selling. This is things like courses and mentorships, those kind of things. And then the third thing we're going to look at is skill monetization. And in my opinion, that's your best bet. So first, we're going to look at real estate. Now, if you haven't heard of real estate, I'm a bit worried for you, but real estate is buying houses, commercial buildings, property, land, those kind of investments. Now, real estate, as most of you probably know, is predominantly the most well-known form of passive income. If you're rich, you have some real estate somewhere. Now, real estate is very beneficial. It has lots of personal benefits and business benefits. Things like tax relief, capital gains, and a good amount of recurring income. However, getting into real estate is a little bit more complicated than you may think. The biggest problem with real estate is that you need some form of cash or credit to get involved. Even with HMOs and those type of investments, if you don't have a large emergency fund or a large amount of money to fall back on, if anything happens, you're going to be in a very big mess. And you also have to take into consideration the management and upkeep of these houses or buildings that you have. And if anything goes wrong, like a boiler breaks or there's a leak and everything gets damaged, it's going to be a very big problem for you if you don't have enough capital to cover those costs of renovation and all those other things. And one of the biggest red flags that any property investor will tell you would be getting a nightmare tenant. Now, I can't emphasize you enough how bad nightmare tenants can be. They can cost you time, money, effort, and probably most of your hair. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not all bad. There are pros to getting into real estate. The best passive flow that you can get from real estate comes in the form of rent. Now, whether you have a house or you have a commercial building that you're renting out as offices, there's nothing to complain about when you have a certain amount of money coming into your bank account every single month, money that you can rely on. This attribute, shared with capital gains, is why a lot of very rich and wealthy people get involved with real estate, because there is also the passive growth of the amount of money that your property that you own or land that you've bought gains over a certain amount of time. Next, I want to talk about online selling. Now, whether it's Amazon FBA or drop shipping or selling online courses, there are hundreds, if not thousands of people online making millions of pounds every single year. One thing that I've noticed is that a lot of these people are trying to sell the dream to people that they hope to sell these products or courses to, is that all this income is made passively from the start. Now, what I want you to understand is that Yes, now their income streams may have been made passive, but there is a lot of hard work that goes into it at the beginning. I want you to think of it like this: from learning the skill, then mastering it, then monetizing it, which is actually making money from the skill that you've mastered, and then turning those income streams into a complex system that can be made passive. There is so much work that goes into creating these systems. This includes the front and the back end. So the only way that this can be achieved is through two types of ways. Now, one is automation, which we've briefly covered, which is about creating systems that work for themselves without having to actively use them or put input into them. And then the delegation, which is finding other people to do the work for you. And the only way that you can begin to delegate tasks outside of your own skill set is by using money. And that goes back to what we said at the beginning of the video about leveraging money. Of course, each way both have their own pros and cons, but both ways will still work. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is skill monetization. Skill monetization, in my opinion, is probably one of the best ways that you can begin to grow your actual income. Passively, it may be not as much help to you as the other two options would be, because once you have your own skill set to then automate or to delegate it, you would have to bring in external sources of help. Think of personal skills as it is. Skills that are personal to you. So when you master your own skill set, there are certain things that make you different and unique to everybody else. That is your personality, the way you go around handling tasks, the way you approach potential clients. It's all unique to you. In my opinion, when you're learning and looking to master a new skill, you want to go for a skill that can become passive on its own, or you want to actually learn how to create passive income streams out of people's actual active income. That way, you already know where you want to be in the future, and you can actually make money from teaching other people how to do it first. So now let's get into the bonuses. I'm going to actually give you a few ways where you can actually turn someone's or your own actual income into a passive income stream. But first, I've got an amazing opportunity for you. I have my own community where I teach people like you to create these passive income streams, and I give you the knowledge that you need to become financially free. It has articles on money management, income growth and investing, and so much more. You can have chats with people like you, or you can direct message me personally and get your information a little bit more tailored to your own situation. I am currently running a special offer where you get a 1-week free trial so you can get involved in the chats, have a chat with me, have a look at a few of the articles and see if the community is for you. And if it's not, there's no harm, no foul. Now let's get into the bonuses. So the first one is automation. Make sure that your front and your back end are automated. Second is delegation. It is so important to know when to pass the work on to somebody else. If it's too much, give it someone else, pay the money and make your life easier. The third one is batching. It's always a good idea to do a lot of work at once and spread it out over a long time. That way you can stay consistent. And that's it for this video. If you took any value, I hope you can apply that to your life. Until next time, peace.